Okay, it's 9 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The proceedings of this meeting will be recorded and made available on the internet. We can move on to item 1.2 of our agenda, which is roll call, and we can have our clerk, Jesse Clark, please call the roll.
Thank you. Mayor Lamset, are you present?
I'm present.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong is present electronically. Councillor Braybrook is present electronically. Councillor Cadigan.
Present.
Councillor Franzen.
Present.
For staff, Donna Taggart, CAO Treasurer.
Present.
Bianca Dragicevic, Deputy Clerk.
Present.
Barb Waldron, Director of Building and Planning, CBO.
Present.
And Jesse Clark, Director of Corporate Services, Clerk is present.
Okay, thank you very much, Jesse, for calling the roll. We can move on to item 1.3 of the agenda, which is land acknowledgement and moment of reflection. We respectfully acknowledge that Trent Lakes and Peterborough County are located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory and in the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaty First Nation, which include Alderville, Beausoleil, Curve Lake, Georgina Island, Hiawatha, Prama, and Scugog Island First Nation. Trent Lakes respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaty First Nations are stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. We will now take a moment and reflect on these principles and our duties and responsibilities as members of council. Thank you, everyone. We can move on now to item 2 of our agenda, which is the disclosure of pecuniary interest. If any members of council have a pecuniary interest on an item on the agenda, please state it now or anytime during the meeting prior to discussing anything you have an interest in. I'm seeing no hands. We can move on to item 3 of our agenda, which is the approval of the agenda as circulated. I would entertain a motion for same. I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a mover and Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. I will call for a vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We can move on to item 4 of our agenda, which is our closed meeting. I would entertain a motion to go into closed. I see Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a mover and Councillor Franzen for a seconder. And we are going to go into closed before I call for the vote to discuss E under the Municipal Act Section 239(2), E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, DUDNY, and F, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, DUDNY. And I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We are now going into closed. Okay, we can move on to item 4.2 of our agenda, which is rise from closed session. I would entertain a motion for same. I see Councillor Franzen for a mover and Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We are now in a regular council meeting, so we can move on to item 5 of that meeting, which is business arising out of a closed session. We have none. So we can move on to item 6 of our agenda, which is the adoption of the confirming bylaw, which is item 6.1. Would anyone care to make a motion? We see Councillor Cadigan to adopt the confirming bylaw, and I need a seconder, which is Councillor Franzen. Any conversation? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? I'll try that again. All in favor? Okay, the motion has carried. Thank you very much. We can move on now to item 7 of our agenda, which is adjournment. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I'm seeing Councillor Braybrook for a mover. And I think I got it. I was going to do it myself. Councillor Franzen for a seconder. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion is carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff. Thank you, council.